Today's the day. Happy birthday, Lara Croft, and welcome back to the Lore Raider. For those of you who do not know, there is much talk about how the future of the Tomb Raider franchise revolves around unifying the timelines. That's to say, connect the three very distinct Tomb Raider mainline timelines somehow into meshing into one and the same. This, as many have pointed out, seems to have created an impossible task, as lore points between the three main video game Laras don't mesh well. The original Lara Croft, for example, was disowned by her family for choosing to forge her own path as opposed to accepting an arranged wedding, and became a journalist to fund her lifestyle. Legends Lara Croft survived a plane crash and witnessed her mother's disappearance, a mystery that drove her and her father to become Tomb Raiders. Meanwhile, Survivor Lara Croft became a Tomb Raider in an effort to continue her father's legacy after he was murdered by Trinity, and she was the one to stumble upon his corpse. And that's just one set of examples. However, what if I told you that every Tomb Raider game, comic, movie not only could be unified, but already are unified? In a sense. Well, let's jump in and find out how. I need to emphasize that within Tomb Raider media, there is already a canon explanation for the Tomb Raider cosmology, and it all begins with the Tomb Raider comics, namely the series comics that ran from 1995 to 2005. Those comics start, of course, its own version of Lara Croft, who goes on her own adventures as you'd expect, and most of these adventures do deserve their own video. However, two important things come from this timeline. Firstly is a branch timeline called Tomb Raider Journeys, which stars a slightly different Lara Croft who swore to be a pacifist and to never take a life. Something, let's say, her other counterparts haven't really shared in.
You have broken into my house. You have killed my men.
I've simplified your payroll. And now, if you don't mind, I'll streamline your inventory.
Back to the main series, of course, the single most important clue to unifying the timeline is found in issue number 50, in which it is explained that every version of Lara Croft, every book, movie, and game are all fictional variants based off the comic Lara Croft. This means that technically speaking, within the universe of the comics, all the other Laras are unified in the sense that they all exist at the same time, fictionally. Now, I know the idea of the other Lara Crofts being fictional isn't what many Tomb Raider fans want or expect, but hear me out on how this could work for the franchise. Now, given that Tomb Raider is essentially a multiverse that the supposedly real Lara Croft can control, imagine that the comic Lara Croft demands that a mass crossover event happens between any number of the various timelines, and the game could choose to play with the concept that these completely different timelines are being connected in this way. After all, the definition of unifying simply means make or become unified, united, uniform, or whole, which means that the timelines don't necessarily have to merge into one timeline. It can simply mean unifying into one grand multiverse, and the game could really center around that. And if people think it's a bad idea, I would point out the multiverse craze going on through our modern media at this time. It wouldn't be illogical to take Tomb Raider down this path. Imagine playing as a classic Lara Croft alongside Legends Lara Croft. I mean, the possibilities really are endless. But for now, that's all she wrote. What do you think about the canonical way the Tomb Raider timelines are connected? Would you want a future game to touch on these points, or do you not like the idea? Let me know down below. And as always, be safe, be wise, and please pray for a true peace in space.